There's something magnetic about experience, not loud, not flashy, but steady, sure of itself, the kind of presence that doesn't try to impress because it doesn't need to. Older men often carry this quiet strength, and whether it's their posture, their tone, or the way they listen, younger women notice more than they let on. Now, here's the thing. Younger women may not always say what they like. They may smile politely, keep the conversation moving, or even play it cool. But beneath that surface, there are certain things that make a real impression, things that most older men overlook. This video isn't about lines or tactics. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about awareness, emotional intelligence, knowing that how you speak and what you say can change the way she feels around you, because words matter. And when they're spoken with calm, quiet confidence, they can build a connection that runs deeper than looks, status, or age. So, if you've ever wondered what really makes a younger woman feel seen, respected, and drawn in, you're in the right place. We're about to walk through 6 things younger women love to hear from older men, not because they're scripted, not because they're clever, but because they come from a place of presence, of truth. These are the kinds of things that build trust, spark curiosity, and leave a lasting impression. You might be surprised at how simple they are, and how powerful they become when said with intention. Let's get started. I admire your independence. There's something deeply attractive about independence. And younger women, especially today, are becoming more independent than ever. They're starting businesses, traveling alone, working hard, building lives on their own terms. And yet, many of them still run into people who see that independence as something that needs to be tamed or even challenged. Now imagine the opposite. Picture this. She walks into the room, shoulders back, eyes focused, carrying herself like someone who knows exactly what she's doing. She's used to being admired for her looks, maybe even complimented for her style, but rarely is she told something deeper than you, as an older man, say something simple, something real. I really admire how independent you are. No games, no hidden agenda, just calm respect, and that right there stops her in her tracks because you didn't compliment her body. You didn't try to one-up her accomplishments. You didn't flirt with flash or force. You acknowledged her power, and you did it in a way that said, I'm not here to take control, I'm here to witness you for who you are. That's rare, that's powerful. See, most people, consciously or not, can feel when someone is threatened by their independence. It shows up in little ways, in dismissive comments, in jokes that cut too deep, in energy that says, you're doing too much. But when you say, I admire your independence, you're doing something different. You're creating safety. You're telling her, you don't need to shrink for me. You don't need to soften. I'm good with who you are, as you are. And here's the twist. When a woman feels safe to be fully herself, when she senses she's not being judged or measured, something opens up. She becomes more playful, more expressive, more drawn in. Not because you chased her, but because you gave her space to relax into being herself. This is the part a lot of men miss. Younger women don't want a father figure. They don't want someone trying to fix them, lead them, or lecture them. They want a partner who sees them clearly and respects what they've built, someone who isn't intimidated by their strength. So when you speak that truth out loud, it makes you stand out from the crowd. And here's where age becomes your strength, because as an older man, you've likely learned how to step back, how to listen, how to observe without needing to dominate the space. You know the difference between control and connection, and whether you realize it or not, that makes your words carry more weight. Now let's break it down. Saying, I admire your independence isn't about flattery. It's not a trick. It only works when it's genuine. When it comes from a A place of real observation. Maybe she's always on the move, juggling a career, managing her own place, handling life without leaning on anyone. Maybe she's built a life where she doesn't need anyone, but she's still open to connection. You notice that. And instead of being intimidated, you told her, "That's beautiful." This kind of comment lands especially hard when it's said in a moment where she doesn't expect it. Maybe you're mid-conversation. She mentions traveling solo to Bali. You smile and say, "That's really impressive. Not a lot of people are comfortable doing that kind of thing on their own. I admire that kind of independence. Simple, clean, respectful." Or maybe she's explaining how she started her business or how she manages work and school. You nod and respond. It's clear you've put in the work. That kind of drive, that kind of independence, it stands out. Again, no agenda, just presence. That's what makes it hit. And here's something interesting. When a woman feels that kind of respect, she begins to associate you with that feeling of being seen. She'll remember that moment. She'll think about how you made her feel, not judged, not challenged, but appreciated. And that kind of emotional association builds attraction, quietly, steadily. Because at the end of the day, most people want the same thing, to be seen, heard, and valued for who they are. When you give that gift to someone who's used to being underestimated, it creates a connection that feels rare. So the next time you're in a conversation with a younger woman who's clearly charting her own path, don't fall into the trap of teasing her hustle or brushing it off. Instead, lean in, observe, and, if it feels real to you, say the words, "I admire your independence." You don't need to say anything else. That alone speaks volumes. Take your time. I'm not in a rush. Let's face it, modern life moves fast, too fast. Everything is on demand, everything is urgent. And for younger women, that pressure is everywhere. Expectations to respond quickly, to act quickly, to decide quickly. Whether it's work, dating apps, social media, or even casual conversations, everything feels like it comes with a ticking clock. But then you say something different. You say, "Take your time, I'm not in a rush." And suddenly the energy shifts, because here's the truth. That simple phrase is more than just good manners. It's emotional oxygen. It says, "I'm not here to push you into anything. I'm grounded enough to move at your pace. I'm not chasing a moment, I'm building a connection." And for a younger woman who's constantly navigating people trying to rush her into decisions, commitments, or reactions, those words feel like a rare kind of relief. See, most men, especially younger ones, feel this need to move fast, to close the deal, to get the date, to escalate things physically. And that urgency, it creates pressure. Pressure that most women feel, even when it's unspoken. But when an older man sits back and says, "Take your time," he's doing the opposite. He's communicating patience, presence, emotional control, that quiet confidence that says, "I'm not afraid of waiting, because I know what I bring to the table." And here's what makes that attractive. Patience feels like luxury. In a world that's always rushing her, your calmness becomes a breath of fresh air. It makes her want to linger in the moment, to trust the space between you. Because when there's no pressure, she's free to be honest, to explore what she really feels, to connect without the fear of being pushed. It's not just about being nice or considerate. It's about creating emotional safety. And when a woman feels emotionally safe, truly safe, she becomes more open, more curious, more present, not because you convinced her, but because you didn't need to. Now let's look at where this shows up. Maybe she's sharing a vulnerable story over coffee and pauses to gather her thoughts. Instead of jumping in to fill the silence, you let her take her time. You stay present, you wait, and then gently you say, "No rush. I'm listening." Or maybe she's unsure about how fast things are moving, emotionally or physically. She says she needs space to think. You respond with, "Take all the time you need. I'm not in a hurry." No guilt, No frustration, no manipulation, just calm, grounded presence. And that, my friend, is rare, because most men are chasing a timeline. They're trying to hit checkpoints. But when you remove the pressure, what happens is remarkable. She starts to trust you more, because deep down, she senses something different. She realizes this man isn't trying to get something from me. He's just here. And that presence builds tension in the best way. Now, let's be clear. This doesn't mean you're passive or uninterested or disconnected. On the contrary, it means you're intentional. You know the difference between eagerness and desperation. You're saying, I know how to wait because what I want is real. That emotional steadiness, that's attractive. That's the energy of someone who's lived, learned, and doesn't need to rush anything that's meant to last. And here's something even deeper. When a woman feels that kind of emotional pacing, it invites her to slow down too. And in that slowing down, she notices things she might have missed. The way you listen, the steadiness in your energy, the quality of your presence, things that can't be felt in a rush. In fact, slowing down actually creates space for chemistry to grow. It lets things unfold organically instead of forcing intensity too soon. So whether it's in a conversation, a connection, or the start of something romantic, remember this. You don't need to accelerate what's already meaningful. Sometimes the slow burn is the most powerful one. And the man who understands that, he stands out, not because he's trying hard, but because he's not trying to rush what's real. So the next time you're in that moment, when she hesitates, when she pauses, when she's unsure, don't fill the space with pressure. Fill it with presence. Look her in the eye, smile, and say it like you mean it. Now, speaking of patience and things that unfold slowly, wait until you hear number 4. Most women would never admit how much they crave it. But when you do it right, it changes the entire dynamic. Stick around, you don't want to miss it. You remind me of someone I used to know, in a good way. Sometimes the most powerful words are the softest. They don't rush. They don't try too hard. They don't shout. They simply land, gently yet deeply. And this one, you remind me of someone I used to know, in a good way. That sentence, it's quiet, but it opens a door, because it's not just a compliment, it's a bridge between the present and the past, between memory and emotion, between where you are now and something that once meant something. And to her, it says a few powerful things. First, it tells her that she holds a spark, not just a surface-level charm, but something deeper, something that woke something up in you, something that made you remember. Not because she's like everyone, but because she's like someone. Now make no mistake, this isn't about comparison. It's not saying, you're like my ex. It's not, you remind me of someone I used to date. No, this is about nostalgia. And nostalgia is one of the most powerful emotions we have, because it's not just about the past. It's about meaning. It's about a moment that mattered. So when you say this to her, you're not putting her in the shadow of someone else. You're actually doing the opposite. You're saying, you've brought something back to life in me. You've reminded me what it feels like to feel. And that is magnetic. You see, many younger women are used to shallow flattery. Compliments about their looks, their body, their selfies. But when you say something like this, it lands in a completely different place. Because now, she's not just attractive. She's memorable. She starts to wonder, who was that person he used to know? What did she mean to him? What is it about me that brought that memory back? And just like that, you've created mystery, but not in a way that feels manipulative, in a way that feels real, warm, intimate. You've let her know that she matters, not just in the moment, but in a deeper thread of your experience, like she fits into a feeling you thought was long gone. And here's why that works. We all want to feel like we've touched something timeless in another person, like we've awakened a part of them they thought was asleep. So when you say, you remind me of someone I used to know, in a good way, you're giving her that gift. You're not putting her on a pedestal. You're not treating her like she's brand new. You're treating her like she's familiar in the most beautiful way. And here's something deeper to think about. This kind of comment is only powerful when it comes from a man who's lived, who's felt things, who's been through seasons and seen the richness of people. It doesn't hit the same coming from someone young and impulsive, but from you, an older man with depth, memory, and experience. It becomes something much more than words. It becomes evidence that you're paying attention. It becomes proof that she's more than just young and pretty. It becomes a sign that she's lit something in you that matters. And don't underestimate the power of that look. The one where you pause just a second longer, glance away, then smile and say, "You remind me of someone I used to know." And that's a really good thing. In that moment, she won't ask for details. She won't need an explanation, because she'll feel it. She'll feel the weight behind the words. She'll feel the truth in your tone. And she'll feel seen in a way most people overlook. Now, here's a little secret. When you say this at the right moment, after a meaningful laugh, a thoughtful insight, or a quiet pause, it lingers. It stays with her. It becomes one of those little moments she replays later. Not because she's confused, but because she's curious. Because you didn't just flatter her, you connected her to something meaningful. And the best part? She'll probably never admit how much that touched her. She might just smile, blush a little, and change the subject. But inside, she'll remember, because in that short sentence, you told her she was unforgettable without ever saying the word. Now, if you thought this was intimate, wait until you hear the next one. It's subtle, it's strategic, and it flips the script on how most men communicate, but when done right, it's impossible to ignore. Stick with me. You don't have to impress me. There's this invisible weight many younger women carry, especially when they're sitting across from an older man. It's not always obvious, but it's there, the subtle pressure to perform, to be interesting enough, to prove that they're mature, ambitious, cultured, capable. It's the little things, how she adjusts her posture, the way she carefully chooses her words, that nervous glance when the silence lingers too long. It's not vanity, it's vulnerability, because in her mind you've lived, you've seen things, you've been around people with power, class, influence. And now she's wondering, am I measuring up? And that's exactly why the words, "You don't have to impress me," land with so much power. You see, those 7 words don't just ease the tension, they erase it. Because when you say that you're not lowering your standards, you're raising the bar on connection, you're telling her, "I'm not sitting here with a checklist. I'm not interested in performance. I'm here for something real." And in a world that constantly pushes women to prove, to dazzle, to compete, even in casual conversation, your calm reassurance becomes a reset. It creates something incredibly rare in modern connection, emotional safety. It gives her permission to breathe, to relax, to drop the armor, because now she knows she's not being sized up, she's being seen. And here's the beautiful irony. The moment she realizes she doesn't have to impress you is often the moment she becomes most impressive. Her guard goes down, her real personality shines, her laugh becomes genuine, her stories flow naturally, her quirks, her opinions, her little glances, they all come out. Because when a woman feels safe, she becomes radiant. That's the gift of that one simple line. But here's where it gets deeper. Most men don't realize how deeply women, especially younger ones, are conditioned to earn approval. They've grown up in a world of comparison, a world of filters, followers, fake standards, and highlight reels, a world that tells them you're not enough unless you impress. So when you, a calm, self-assured older man, look her in the eye and say, "You don't have to impress," Midra, you're not just making a moment easier. You're undoing years of pressure. You're saying, "I'm not here for your resume. I'm here for your presence." You don't need to be on. You just need to be you. And that level of emotional intelligence, it's rare. It's grounding. It's attractive in a way that very few men ever understand, because think about it. When you meet someone and immediately feel like you don't have to perform, that's the kind of person you want to be around. That's the kind of person who makes you feel whole. So when she hears that line from you, it changes everything. Suddenly, the date doesn't feel like an audition. It feels like an invitation to show up as herself. And trust me, she'll never forget how that feels. Now, let's be real. This line only works when it's genuine. It can't be delivered like a tactic. It can't sound rehearsed or manipulative. It has to come from a place of truth, from the man who's already seen what shallow looks like and no longer needs it, from the man who values substance over show, from the man who's done chasing performances and wants connection. And when it's real, it creates a shift. Suddenly, you're not just an older guy trying to impress her. You become the rare man who knows what matters and gives her room to meet you there. And the best part? You don't even need to follow it with more words. Just let it land. Let the silence sit. Let her absorb it. Because sometimes the deepest trust isn't built by saying more. It's built by saying enough. Now, here's the cliffhanger I promised. Wait until you hear number 6. It's the one that almost no one talks about. It sounds so simple, almost casual, but it hits in a way that's completely unexpected. It stirs something deeper, something emotional, and when you say it at the right moment, it becomes the most seductive thing an older man can say. Stick around. You make things feel exciting again. Let's talk about something most men don't say. But every woman wants to feel that she brings something to your world, especially when you're older, more experienced, and have seen it all. It's easy for a younger woman to wonder, am I adding anything real to his life? Or am I just a passing attraction? That's where this line shifts everything. You make things feel exciting again. It's warm, it's effortless, but it carries so much weight, because here's the truth. A lot of women assume that older men are hard to impress, that their lives are already full, that nothing surprises them anymore. So when you let her know, genuinely, that her presence brings spark, adventure, and freshness into your life, it lights her up. It tells her, you're not just beautiful, you're meaningful. You didn't just catch my eye. You woke up a part of me I forgot was there. You see, younger women are drawn to older men for many reasons: stability, wisdom, emotional presence. But they also want to feel wanted in return. Not just physically, but emotionally. They want to know they're contributing to your joy. And when you say, you make things feel exciting again, you're doing exactly that. You're not putting pressure on her. You're not placing responsibility on her. You're simply showing appreciation for the energy she brings into your world. And here's what makes it powerful. It's not about being overwhelmed or smitten. It's about being revived. That line tells her that her curiosity, her spontaneity, her fresh way of looking at life, it's not just noticed. It's valued. It tells her, your light brings warmth to mine. Your energy inspires me. You're not just part of the moment, you've made it better. That level of acknowledgement, that kind of validation, it makes her feel seen, not for how young she looks or how fun she is, but for the impact she has. Because here's a secret most men overlook. When a woman feels like she's adding value, she leans in. She shows up more. She deepens her connection. She feels proud to be with you. And guess what? That doesn't just benefit her. It elevates the entire dynamic between you. You go from being the older guy with charm to becoming the man who actually feels alive again because of her presence. And no, this isn't about flattery. It's about truth, because let's be real, life gets routine. You get used to certain rhythms, certain places, certain conversations, but then she walks in and suddenly things feel lighter, more vibrant. Even the most ordinary things, like going to the grocery store or having a cup of coffee, suddenly feel different, not because the place changed, But because she changed how you see it, when you say you make things feel exciting again, you're letting her know she's not just a part of the scene, she's transforming it. And here's the kicker, you don't have to say it with dramatic flair. Sometimes a quiet, heartfelt version of this line lands even harder. Maybe you're walking together and she says something random that makes you laugh, and you just look at her and say with a smile, "You know what? You make things exciting again." That's it. No performance, no build-up, just truth. And that's what sticks. Because remember, it's not about fireworks, it's about feeling. And that line, it gives her the feeling that she's not just someone passing through your life. She's leaving a mark. Now, get ready, because in the final section, we're diving into something most people never talk about. It's a phrase that's deceptively simple, but has the power to melt resistance, build trust instantly, and make her see you in a completely new light. It's not loud, it's not poetic, but it's unforgettable. That's coming up next. Don't miss it. This last one might surprise you. It doesn't sound sexy, it's not poetic. It's not even something most guys think to say, but if you want to speak to the heart of a younger woman in a way that feels safe, magnetic, and real, this line is gold. I feel calm around you. It's simple, quiet, almost easy to overlook. But don't mistake simplicity for weakness. This phrase is pure impact because it does something that most compliments don't. It takes the spotlight off her looks and places it on how she makes you feel. Let's unpack why that matters so much. Younger women, especially when dating older men, often feel the pressure to bring the spark, to be bubbly, exciting, full of energy, to impress. And yes, attraction matters. But when you tell her that her presence, not her performance, brings you peace, that's powerful, because it tells her you don't have to entertain me, you don't have to impress me, just being near you is enough. Now think about how rare that is. How often do women hear that they are comforting? How often are they told that they are a safe space? Very rarely. Most compliments are about appearance, or about skills, or about what they do for you. But this is about who she is when she's not trying at all. It's gentle praise, and that kind of softness builds connection on a deeper level than flattery ever could. You see, many women, even confident ones, carry internal pressure to be interesting, pretty, fun, to meet expectations. And here you are telling her that her mere presence brings calmness, stability, ease. That's a whole different energy. It invites her to lower her guard, to exhale, to feel like she doesn't need to be anyone else in that moment. And that feeling, that's rare. That's the stuff people remember long after the conversation ends. Now here's what makes this phrase even more powerful. It gives you depth too, because it says something subtle about who you are as a man. It tells her that you value peace over drama, presence over chaos, connection over performance. And those qualities, they're incredibly attractive. They tell her this man knows who he is. He's grounded. He's not just reacting, he's appreciating. He's not here to take my energy, he's here to match it. This is the type of line that makes her want to be around you more, not because she's trying to impress you, but because she feels better about herself when she's near you. You see, when a woman feels calm around you, her body relaxes, her nervous system settles, she feels safe. And safety is what allows love, desire, and trust to grow. But when you flip it and tell her that you feel calm around her, you're returning the favor. You're giving her a gift she didn't even know she wanted. You're saying, I don't need fireworks. I don't need performance. Just this moment with you, right here, right now, is perfect. It's one of the most emotionally intelligent compliments you can give. And it cuts through the noise of everyday flattery. Because let's face it, any guy can say, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're different, but only a man who's really in tune with himself and the moment can say with quiet sincerity, I feel calm around you. It lands differently. It creates emotional intimacy without pressure, and it lets her know that you value more than just her appearance. You value her energy. And that kind of compliment, it stays with her. She might smile and say, "Thank you." But trust me, she'll think about it later. She'll replay the moment. She'll remember how you made her feel. Because in a world where everyone is rushing, competing, performing, feeling calm is rare, and being the man who brings that calm and acknowledges it, that's unforgettable. So, if you ever wonder what to say to a younger woman that goes beyond surface-level compliments, say what most men are too distracted or too nervous to say. Speak from experience. Speak with emotional depth, because sometimes the most powerful thing you can give her is a moment of peace in a chaotic world, and that makes you the kind of man she never forgets. There's a reason younger women are drawn to older men, and it's not always about money, status, or looks. Sometimes it's the words they say, words that carry maturity, confidence, and presence, words that say less, but mean so much more. If you found this video insightful, drop a comment below and tell us which line surprised you the most. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We've got plenty more content coming your way, content that helps you understand relationships on a deeper level.